So a few months ago, there was a Jewish settler terrorist attack. They bombed Palestinian homes in occupied territory. 3 people died, including a baby. At first, it was 2, and then later on, the 3rd person died. And now the government, the Israeli government, told the high court that they're not ready to bring the terrorists to justice. So the Jerusalem Post reports on this, quote, "The state on Tuesday told the High Court of Justice that it is not ready to bring the recently arrested Duma terror attack suspects to trial. The state's response heavily suggested that it was confident that arresting the suspects was a breakthrough of sorts and showed commitment to solve the crime, but also that filing indictments was still in doubt and not on the horizon in the near future." That's really weird. There have been media reports of extreme and controversial tactics against the suspects, but in the past, ideological activists have held out from cooperating with authorities, sometimes for long periods of time. Now, I want to ask you guys a question here. Do you think it would be, oh my goodness, they twisted our arm, what are we going to do? There's nothing we can do, they're not talking. Do you think there would be this waterfall of excuses coming out of the right-wing Israeli government if this were, for example, a Palestinian doing some kind of an attack? Genuine question. Curious what you guys think. Now, for those of you who say, well, come on, that's unfair, you're reading too much into the situation, that's not the case, there's a devastating fact here that we covered in an article from the Daily Beast a few months ago. They found the following, quote, "Fewer than 8% of the cases of Jewish attacks on Palestinians have resulted in indictments, and a number are known to have been ignored with no proper investigation." Okay, guys, understand something. This is not an example or a case of, they're trying, but they failed. They failed. What are you going to do? They tried their best. You know how I know that? They're not even getting the indictments. Let me repeat. Fewer than 8% of the cases of Jewish attacks on Palestinians have resulted in indictments. Indictment is not, hey, we got them, they're guilty, lock them up. This is like the situation with Mike Brown and Ferguson, for example, where the old saying goes, you can indict a ham sandwich because all you have to do is present your side of the case. You don't have to give the defense, just present your side, and then it can proceed to trial. Guys, they only get indictments 8% of the time. Never mind convictions. Never mind it actually gets to trial and then, whoop, look at that, we found you guilty. So here's a high-profile case. Jewish settler terrorist attack. They know who the guys are. They have the evidence. And they're like, I don't know. Not sure we can get an indictment, even though you can indict a ham sandwich. It's tough, man. They got our arm twisted. They're not talking. They're good with this. They know to zip it. We're trying our best, but it's really hard here. Enough. It's a charade. It's bullshit. We know that, sure, at times, the Israeli government might disagree with the settlers, and the settlers might go too far in their opinion. But by and large, do they value that kind of terrorism as equal in their mind to Palestinian terrorism? Oh, of course not. But remember, Netanyahu tells us only democracy in the Middle East. Justice is blind. We're not playing favoritism at all. What makes us better than our enemies is that, hey, we go after our terrorists, but they laud theirs and call them heroes. Well, then what? 8% of the cases of Jewish attacks on Palestinians have resulted in indictments. If you're really, really tough on the Jewish settler attacks, you sure have a weird way of showing it.